Farming is an integral part of our history and of our future. It employs a number of people in the ancillary industries as well. The Romans grew barley at the top of Cheviot hundreds of years ago, and we continue to be world leaders in farming in Northumberland. Particularly at the moment, there's a great deal of uncertainty around the legislation that's coming forward, around the whole level of how farmers are going to get supported, if at all, and how we will be able to play our meaningful role in society, which is what we want to do. In Northumberland in particular, we have a lot of tenant farmers, we have a lot of smaller farmers. It is very, very difficult to work in a climate when you don't know what's going to happen from one year to the next.
Beamwam's 390 acre. At the present time we're carrying around 70 suckler cows and 400 breeding ewes. Just a true Northumberland farm. Right from being at school, I always wanted to be a farmer. And that's what I've done all my life. Well, my parents farmed, and it was a way of life. There's never been a fortune in farming, but, you know, it was the way of life.
I work as a farming consultant as well as being a part-time farmer in Northumberland. All the land at farm is on a grazing licence, so we only have the land for a maximum of 364 days of the year due to tenancy laws and such. We started off with half an acre 2 years ago. We've just managed to secure another 7.5 acres this year, which doesn't sound a lot, but takes us up to just over 40 acres now. Farming and agriculture is huge in Northumberland and will always remain a key part in how the county is shaped, and it's a key part to what all happens in this area.
We run 3 farms, which will be Healy, Thistleoff and Useley. They're all livestock, suckler cows and sheep, amassing to about 2,000 acres in total. We run about 250 suckler cows and 2,000 breeding ewes. As far as farming goes, it's probably the bedrock of the Coquet Valley in this area. You know, the community over centuries has been built around agriculture and built around livestock farming. It's a really important part of the culture of the area. The nature side of farming has become a lot more important to us. So seeing the wildlife thriving amongst the farming system and working both nature and productive farming together gives us huge reward. And I think more and more I see that as an important role that we have. That's production and nature-friendly farming all linking together.
The Coquet Valley is beautiful. It's our home of 22 years. It very much has its own character. We have the Coquet River running down the valley. We farm from the river right up to the moor. Definitely in this area, farming is really, really important. Everything about this area has been shaped by the 4,000 to 6,000 years of history of farming here.
My wife and I, we're first generation farmers. We started at 16 acres. We now own 160 acres and we rent a further 200 acres. There's 50 suckler cows, their calves and 50 yearlings, and about 130 ewes with their lambs.
The sense of being a custodian of the land is something very, very special, and definitely what I love about being a farmer.
Being a farm vet, it does give me insight into lots and lots of other farm businesses. I'm 5 days a week on other farms, so getting to see how they're running their places, what's working, what isn't working, as well as some of the challenges that are happening in the locality. So yeah, it has a fairly big impact, but equally being a farmer impacts my vet work as well. You know, I understand some of the challenges our farmers are going through.
I think in all the years I've farmed, this last few years has been the most challenging. The input costs have rocketed, and it is a very challenging time.
As my role as a farm consultant, it's quite a challenging time, from speaking to farmers as to how their farming businesses are doing. At times you almost feel like a counsellor, you know, because then a lot of these farmers, they don't see other people. They'll say a lot of stuff to myself that they probably wouldn't say to other family members, and then it's almost becomes my role or one of my tasks to try and, you know, figure that situation out or try and help with that as much as possible.
Most challenging part of running the business is generating some profit. As a business, you invest all this money and time, and actually at the end of the day sometimes end up with very little return on that investment.
Farming is always unpredictable, but those unpredictabilities of market, of weather, and now of government policy is massive. Bringing in that element of uncertainty can definitely affect the long-term decisions that you make.
I've always been open to change, but I think this last 5 years, you've got to be willing to change your system to survive in farming.
I don't think throughout my career in farming that there's never been a time when somebody would go, oh, well, there's not challenges. As an industry, for us, the best way to deal with these is by communicating, keep talking, finding solutions, use every opportunity you can to get help, advice, and keep speaking to people.
The County Council have set themselves a target of bringing around a reduction of CO2 emissions that is reasonable and doable. We do need, though, the help of agriculture to meet this. We are talking to people and hearing how we might be able to use farming in a way to help us reach that target.
The Farming in a Changing Climate project came about because we're aware that agriculture forms quite a large portion of our emissions as a county. There's currently no set target for net zero for the sector of agriculture, but we know that a transition needs to be made to ensure that farming can be made more sustainable and that we can keep farming in Northumberland for future generations to come. The Farming in a Changing Climate project has been made possible by funding from Innovate UK. And for us, that means for farmers, what are the barriers that are stopping them making their farm businesses more sustainable?
The Farming in a Changing Climate project has set out to gather insights and information and feedback from farmers about the challenges they're facing.
So a partnership was formed with Northumberland County Council and ourselves at the Rural Design Centre to speak to the farmers directly involved in the industry, to try to understand from farmers themselves what those challenges are and how we can best support them to tackle farming in a changing climate.
We wanted to start a conversation to listen to what farmers, ordinary everyday working farmers, feel that their role might be in a changing climate, and to learn and to see if we can work together.
We took lots of different approaches to engaging with farmers, from going out and knocking on front doors and having a cup of tea around the kitchen table. We spent a lot of time at the livestock and equipment marts across the region. We ran several workshops. We utilised the existing networks that are already up and running and active across Northumberland to try to get as many voices heard as we possibly could.
The Rural Design Centre uses design-led thinking and co-design in its work. in the most simple terms, it's like, what is the problem? You know, that's where you start from, and you start with looking at that problem with the people that it affects. So in this case, it's the farmers.
Every farm is completely different. There are definite themes and everybody is facing similar challenges. But every farmer's approach is different and the unique setup of their fields and their farm is different. So there is never going to be a one-size-fits-all solution. And there does have to be a bespoke approach to support each individual farmer along their journey.
I think working together going forward, the County Council and farmers have that necessary respect and understanding that we can work together better and produce everything that we all want, which is a good farming economy and a fine bit of land underneath our feet.
We as a team have been enabled through this funding to create, design and produce a dedicated farm support directory for the county of Northumberland. We're calling it a little green book, and that contains a load of organisations that offer support to farmers in the county.
I think with being involved in the process so far, it's highlighted that we're aware of a lot of the challenges that are ongoing, and you know, the changing climate is something we're going to have to adapt to. And I feel the role as a consultant and being involved with the project is going to be key in how I advise farmers on what they do going forward.
Farming is very isolated, and sometimes going to meetings, you see other people, you find out different things, and I think it is a good thing for everyone, because they're out there trying to understand how farming works and how they can help, and that is a positive.
The most important thing we've found through this project is making farmers aware of the support that is already available to them from a range of organisations, whether that be for mental health or whether that be farming practice support and advice. It's really important that the farmers are aware of it. That's why the directory is there, so they have all of those contacts in one place and they can find the support that's relevant to them there and then. A key output of this project has been the pilot that we have carried out through the project in the last few months. We have done a pop-up business clinic at 3 of the marts within Northumberland, Hexham, Acklinton and Wooler, where we've brought a farm advisor in person there and then on the day to the mart, where farmers can sit, ask the questions that they need advice and support on answering, and be signed up to the service or directed to the best support and advice for them. Business change needs to happen as part of this sustainable transition, and farmers need to be equipped with all of the advice and support to do so.
It improves the conversation definitely by involving people from outside of the farming sector and involve them in something that ultimately affects us all.
Every industry in the world relies on the farms producing that food, but if they can produce it and at the same time keep the wildlife and the biodiversity and keep the soils healthy, for me that's what I like to see in Northumberland.
One thing that all farms have in common is the soil upon which they make their living. The vast majority of farmers are acutely aware of how important the soil is and how they should treat that and how they should respect it. Soil and soil value is crucial for all of us going forward.
My hope for the future of this farm is that we will continue to see increases in biodiversity. It all starts with the soil. If that microbiology is healthy, then you'll have the insect life. If you have the insect lives, you have the birds. If you have that soil health, you have your grass growing better. You have that biodiversity, which is so critical. It's critical to the health of our animals and everything around us. For me, that is a sustainable farming business.
I would hope in the next years that farming in Northumberland will concentrate on food production but also looking after the environment, and the two things do go hand in hand. I've got peatland, so we're going to re-wet that and we're going to make it for wading birds. We've got a very growing population. As farmers, we need to produce the food, because if there's no food, there's nothing.
We want to engage farmers and make sure they're getting the right support and advice. The Farming Advisory Service is a free service for all farmers within Northumberland to use. It's currently delivered by the Northumberland National Park Authority, and it offers free advice and support to any farmer who wants to make a change to their business or just needs advice or answers to a question they might have about their farm business.
Northumberland, I'm hugely optimistic about the future of the livestock sector. What we're realising now is that they're actually a positive to the environment and not a negative if managed well. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and rightly so in many cases, but equally so I think there's a huge potential, and I think there's every reason to be really, really excited about the future of farming in this area.
Northumberland has got the best farmers, I think, anywhere actually in the world. I'm deeply proud to be a farmer, deeply proud of farmers and everything that they do. Let's see what we can do together to see if we can do things slightly differently and even better.